Have you been working really hard and just doing everything you can, trying to save up and get yourself in a better financial position for your next big purchase, but just feeling overwhelmed with the rising costs that we're seeing and just feeling discouraged as if the dial's just not moving and you're not seeing the growth and the change that you were hoping to? Maybe you're wanting to buy your first home or finally take that dream vacation, or you're wanting to buy a new car or invest in a new career or move to a different state. Whatever it is that you've had this desire to do and you've been working towards, if you've been struggling financially to get there, stay tuned for this 3-part video series where I'm going to be talking about 3 different things that you can focus on to hopefully help you start to move that dial and slowly start chipping away and getting closer to your financial goals. Hey guys, I'm Felicia, and if you don't know, I am a real estate agent in the greater Hartford area of Connecticut. I bought my first home along with my husband last year, and prior to that, we spent a lot of time kind of cleaning up the mess we made when it comes to finances. And it was a really hard struggle to get ourselves into a position to be able to buy a home. I wanted to make this video to share some of the things that I'm currently trying or I've tried in the past that have worked for me. So hopefully it will help you if you are struggling with this as well. Let's jump right into what this video is about, which again is the first of a 3-part series. And today I want to talk about exploring side hustles and different things that you can do to increase the income that you have bringing in. The first side hustle that I think is very lucrative for people who do it and do it often, that is driving Uber or Lyft or doing a grocery service like Instacart or something similar. I was looking online and it seems like the average driver makes somewhere around $15 to $20 an hour. It is an average. I'm sure it depends on how close you are to major cities and how much people are using those services and how much people tip and all those types of things. The great thing about doing one of these services is that you have the flexible hours, so you really can get out of it as much as you put in. So that's something that's really nice. If you work a full-time job, you can actually have a full part-time job on top of that within the hours that work for you. The downside though, is you have to think about things like the health and safety that comes into play. I know some people are definitely not comfortable having maybe a stranger driving their car or having to have their car cleaned regularly because of all the people coming through. Some people aren't even able to work in these services. I'm one of those people because of car warranties and leases and things like that. So this is an option that may not be for everybody, but it is definitely lucrative for those who take advantage of it. The second option to look into is starting an online shop, whether that's through Poshmark or eBay, or you can even start a store through Etsy. There's lots of different options. This allows you the opportunity to sell either things that you already own or to create crafts or different products that you sell for a profit online. I've done some looking into how much you can make on these platforms, and it's such a wide range. It's really hard to say because it depends how much you have available to sell, how good the quality is. If it's something that you are selling that you owned prior through Poshmark, you might have a better chance if you own designer items and things that would sell naturally for higher. So it really ranges, but I think this is a really great option for people who struggle with sometimes maybe spending more on clothing or some of those items that maybe are within our means. It gives you a chance to get rid of some things that you already have that maybe you don't wear very often and to make room for those newer items that you're buying. So it's kind of a good way to balance out your budget. So I highly recommend it if you do have some extra things that you could stand to part with. The third area to look into is providing services for different things like babysitting or dog walking, maybe lawn care. There's pretty much an endless list of things that you could offer to your community. And if you're not sure where to start, there are websites that you can go to that will help, which I will link to this video. There's care.com for babysitting. I know Rover is a really common one for dog walking. You may even have people just in your community, people in your neighborhood, people that your family and friends know, maybe people that you're friends with on Facebook. I think that there's people all over the place that are looking for help. And it doesn't have to be babysitting or dog walking. There's other services or skills that you might have that people might find helpful. Maybe they're looking for somebody to help them straighten their house or help with their garden or tutoring high school students. There's so many things that you may just naturally have as skills that might be helpful to people around you. So I would say to make a list of maybe some of those things that you know you can offer for people and start asking around and putting feelers out there and see what's available to you. And if all else fails, I would say to check the databases and the websites that I'll link below and see if there is anybody locally that is looking for help. The next potential side hustle that might work for you is working as a fitness instructor or dance instructor or choir instructor, anything along those lines. If you have a skill that you have always been passionate about, but maybe you're not actively using it for income, it may be time to consider pursuing that. I was a Zumba instructor for several years and I did it because I enjoyed it, but there's also a lot of opportunity to make money. And what's nice is that you can usually teach around a schedule that works for you. It's definitely something that can be flexible and is something that you can kind of fit in as you're able. From my experience, when I was a fitness instructor, I was able to bring in a range of prices for my class. It depended on when I was teaching and where. I had one class when I first started that was about $20 an hour, but I got to a point where I was actually teaching for $50 an hour. So it really does depend, and I think that's why it's a good opportunity for people who are looking for just a little bit extra to have in their pocket at the end of the month. I also know of several people who teach classes on playing the guitar or maybe vocal lessons, piano lessons, things like that. There's a lot of people who are looking for help who may be in school, but their school doesn't offer that help, or maybe they're an older age, but they're out of school, but they're wanting to learn a new skill and maybe don't want to pay to actually go to a class. If you have experience and you are able to teach, there may be some people who will be willing to pay for your time. The fifth and final area that you can make a little bit of extra side money that I recommend is through doing online surveys and focus groups, things of that nature. This is an area that you're probably not going to make a ton of money. You're not going to replace a job with this type of work, but you can bring in a decent amount of money that, again, is going to be on top of your full-time job and whatever else that you have going on. Sadly, I have not yet been picked for a focus group. I have tried. I have applied for them online. Usually they're looking for a variety of demographics or they're looking for something specific. So it can be kind of hit or miss for actually getting chosen, but it's worth applying for and just seeing if you are chosen, because those tend to pay a decent amount of money. I've seen $150 to $300 for just 2 hours of a focus group. So it's definitely lucrative if you're able to be chosen for one. I am very familiar with online surveys. I started those back in probably college days, years ago. Stopped for a while because back then it was kind of glitchy and I wasn't able to find one that ever really made me much money. But more recently, I have started using Survey Junkie. It's actually an app, so it's really easy for me to fill them out. And again, it's not tons of money, but I am able to get somewhere around like $50 to $75 a month, depending on how much time I put into it. Those are all the side hustles that I wanted to mention today. Again, this is one of a 3-part series that I am going to be sharing with you guys on things that you can do to kind of move the needle and hopefully get you in a better financial position than you feel you are today. So don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on those videos when they do come out. I appreciate you guys watching and I will see you next time. Bye.